So let us proceed further to step number 3, which is the research design. So we have step number 1 as problem definition, step number 2 as developing an approach to the problem, step number 3 is formulating a research design. This is what we are going to discuss today. What is a research design? Any idea?
Hypothesis and research question and hypothesis.
So she is saying research question and hypothesis comes under research design. We already have stated research question and hypothesis as a part of step number 2. Step number 2 ended with our research questions, hypothesis, and specifying what all variables are part of our research questions and hypothesis, because we have to collect data on all of those variables. So we, at the end of step number 2, we are not only mentioning research questions and hypothesis, we should also be writing the variables on which we will be collecting the information so as to answer our research questions and test our hypothesis. Now, what is the research design? You have to tell me.
What method we would use to
What method we will use to?
answer those research questions and hypotheses.
Okay, from this side.
So it is about collection of data.
It is about collection of data. Last, research design. Formulating a structure for the entire research problem. Very good attempt.
How are we going to test the data?
How we are going to test the data? A little bit problem happened towards the end. How we are going to test the hypothesis? How we are going to answer the research questions?
What methods we will choose and how we will.
What methods we will use? Can you elaborate? What are the methods?
Surveys, questionnaires, interviews,
Qualitative or quantitative?
Data collection methods.
What sort of data we collect to answer the questions, how we collect them, and after collecting, how we'll use the data to answer those questions.
Okay. So he is saying what data to collect, how to collect, and what we will do after the data collection. From where to collect, from whom to collect. But all of this, if you actually collect all of these statements, yes, they all are part of research design. It is correct. So research design tells you
Make a blueprint of all the research.
the blueprint, right? So research design tells you on whom to collect the data, from where to collect the data, how to collect the data, when to collect the data. With what way we will collect the data, how we are going to analyze the data, that is all part of research design. So research design is the entire plan of your testing the hypothesis or getting the information which is required, getting the information which is data information which is required to test the hypothesis or get answers to your research questions. So it is a detailed plan or outline about what information to collect. That will come directly from, we have specified the information needed in the step number 2, what variables. So in the research design, we decide about what information to collect, how to collect, where to collect, when to collect, from whom to collect, and why to collect. That is already we know, right? Step number 1, 2, we are wanting to solve a management decision problem and we have framed a marketing research problem, components, research questions and hypothesis. and this is why we are collecting the data. But research design is a detailed plan or outline about what information to collect to answer research questions or hypotheses, from whom the information will be collected, in what way the information will be collected, which is how, where the information will be collected, when the information will be collected, in what manner it will be collected. So all that is a part of research design. So there are ways, for example, why we plan that just a difference in the way the information is collected can also produce bias in your data. Just a small difference in the way you collect the data will introduce the bias. For example, as I said, if there is a questionnaire about the hygiene habits, and one of the question I give you the survey, one of the question is, have you taken bath today? And I stand with you, just watching you. Versus this questionnaire is sent to your email saying that you need not write your email, you need not identify yourself, you will be anonymous, we would not know who has filled the survey, it is just for the IIT population. Then there are greater chances of getting the right answer. Even then some people will not, because they will feel bad about themselves writing that, right? So there are ways to get over all that. So the idea is research design is the detailed plan to get the true information. We do not want biased information. Which means if you have to ask about how much, for example, how much a household spends on milk per month, you would not ask generally the male member of the family about that, right? So here you have to plan about from whom to collect the data if your question is like that, because the biases would come. You know that particular, that famous statements are there, never ask a girl of her age and never ask a man for his salary. So that similarly we have to be careful in many different ways when we are collecting the data. So anyways, research design is the detailed plan about what information we are going to collect, how we are going to collect, where, when, from whom, from how many of the participants. Once we collect the data, how we are going to analyze, that is all part of the research design. So research design broadly are of two types. One is the exploratory research design and then conclusive research design. Exploratory research design and conclusive. Exploratory means that design will plan for exploratory research. Exploratory means that we have already done in the problem definition. In the problem definition process, it was exploratory research because the problem was not stated, the probable cause was not identified. So exploratory research is the one where we are getting to know more of the situation. We do not know which variables are important and which are not important, where we are exploring the issue. That is the exploratory research, where we are collecting the ideas, insights, but we do not have much idea about what is the or what could be the problem. So exploratory research we already have done in problem definition when we were talking about problem audit, interview with experts, qualitative research, secondary data. That was all part of exploratory research, because we were doing all that to get to that probable cause. Once the probable cause is known, the kind of research design we use to confirm and solve focusing on that probable cause is called conclusive research design. In conclusive, we have further descriptive and causal research design. We will discuss as we move on what are these. So uncertainty decides whether you are going to use exploratory or conclusive. If the problem is not known, only symptom is known, then you have to use exploratory research. Once there is certainty that this is a probable cause, you are going to confirm and solve it, then you have to use the conclusive research. Exploratory research we do generally with, it is a research where the data will be in the form of, in the exploratory research in the form of paragraph statements. The story is qualitative, there can be quantitative secondary data as well. But in the exploratory research, the characteristic, the problem is not known, the issue is under investigation. We are looking at different aspects of that particular situation at hand in order to arrive at a probable cause, or the variables are not known on what we can do further research, that is not known. Probable cause, whether 1 or 2, what is it, there is no information about that. So once there is probable cause, the kind of research design that is used is called conclusive research design. Conclusive research design are of two types, descriptive and causal. And the findings of the exploratory research, they are tentative. Findings of the exploratory research are tentative in nature. Because the qualitative research that you do with small number of customers, your market has crores of customers, for example, for FMCG products, let's say, market has crores of customers. You have done qualitative research with selected 5 or 10 focus groups, let's say with 12, 2-3 focus groups, maximum 50 people. Likewise, experts you would have met 2 or 3. So the sample is so small that it is not representative of your population. It is a small, very small sample from which you can get to the probable cause. Why we are not saying it is the actual cause? Why it is probable? Because it is coming from very small number. The sample is very small, not representative, because for being a representative sample of a crore of population, you require several thousands of population to be representative of the crores of population. And this sample that you are using in exploratory research is very, very small. So that we can give you certain, the cause you are getting is probable, tentative, because it is coming, you cannot say it is it is a conclusive evidence, it is tentative. But the findings from conclusive research design, that is why we say conclusive research design, are concluding findings. You can rely on them. You can give it back to the manager saying that this is what is happening, this is how you solve it. Then it is the decision of the manager to take it forward. You can just give recommendations. Let's not talk about inductive or deductive. They are, yes, two terminologies again, which so inductive, inductive means from the data we go to the theory. From inductive means from the data we make sense of what is happening. Deductive is the opposite. In the inductive one, generally whenever the qualitative studies are done, from the data in the form of paragraph, sentences, whatever that we try to make sense of, or we try to understand what is happening by interpreting that data. That is inductive. Deductive is, let's say, from a theory, we try to explain a part of reality and then test it. We make a conceptual framework based up, or we say based upon certain theory that this is how things are happening, and when we test it, that becomes more of deductive research. But let's not get there. Let's focus on this because that won't be required for MBA students, inductive deductive thing. So the understanding is there at this point of time. There are two types of research design. Not inductive deductive, the two types of research design: exploratory, conclusive. Conclusive has further, descriptive and causal. Now you need not read at these differences because I have already told you the same things are written. Now in conclusive there are further two types of research design. One is descriptive, another one is causal. In conclusive there are further two types of research design: descriptive and causal. So descriptive is the research design that we use to describe what exists. Now what is this? Describe what exists. To describe the present situation. So descriptive, but then how it would conclude, help in concluding for a particular probable cause, right? So descriptive and causal are two types of conclusive research design. In descriptive, if you read here, the objective is to describe market characteristics or functions. Has anybody been able to make sense of this descriptive? What happens in descriptive research design? This side. In descriptive research design, the market characteristics are described and correlated to test the hypothesis. For example, what is your market? Customers. What is market characteristics? Characteristics of your customers. What can be the characteristics of customers? Demographics, psychographics, their perceptions about brands, attitude about brands, feelings about brands, where they buy particular brands, where they don't buy, what they read, what they don't read, what is their lifestyle. All this is market characteristic. So in descriptive research design, you collect the data about the market and what they think of your product, and then find out solution to your research questions, or that data can be used to test your hypothesis. For example, one of your hypotheses is gender is income, let's say income, as the income of an adult increases, the spending on, let's say, fashion clothing increases. This is a hypothesis. As the income, as the individual income, let me be more precise, individual income of a person increases, the purchases of fashion clothing increases. So this is a hypothesis, which means you will collect income data from everybody, you will collect how much they spend on fashion clothing and try to see whether that is correct. There is a positive correlation. If the income is increasing, this expenditure on fashion clothing is increasing. So what you have collected is you have collected data on market characteristic. What was the market characteristic in this case? How much is your income, how much you spend on fashion clothing. So you are describing market characteristics related to their purchases, their income. So demographics are there, psychographics is there, and likewise you have many other market characteristics the perception of how they think, how they feel about brands, how they think about the brands, what is their beliefs about particular brands, how do they evaluate brands, all this part of market characteristic. So once you collect data on that, you can use that data to test your hypothesis. For example, in the case of service quality, tell me one of the hypotheses, let's say responsiveness, more the responsiveness of employees, more the customer satisfaction, let's say, right? So you would have collected data from the customers about how responsive were the employees and how satisfied they were. So they were hypotheses. So you have data about both of them. You can use that data to test that hypothesis. So likewise, whatever hypothesis till now we have discussed in the class 1, 2, 3, we can test those using the descriptive research design. Now once descriptive is over, what is this causal? Why we have more and more of these research designs?
In causal we have independent and dependent variables.
In causal we have independent and dependent, that we can also have in descriptive. So descriptive is more about correlation. We cannot say that one is a cause, other is an effect, whereas in causal we try to infer the causality, although even through causal we cannot truly determine the cause and effect relationships, but yes, we infer causality in cause and effect. So not going for in depth into whatever I said, causal designs, they determine the cause and effect as it is written, determine cause and effect relationships. How many of you have attended your chemistry classes in 9th, 10th, 8th, 7th, 8th classes? Everybody? You have done some experiments in your chemistry lab. Give me an example what you did. Can you recall? Salt analysis, everybody does that, right? How many of you have by mistake broken test tubes or beakers? Everybody, right? Not some of you. Okay, so we have some idea about experimentation because we have attended our physics lab also, right? And chemistry lab also. Physics lab, many a time getting the idea of what is happening, how the readings are coming it used to become difficult because with the airflow itself, the readings used to change, right? So in experiments, what we do is we try to see the effect of one independent variable on the dependent variable by keeping all the other factors constant. So manipulate independent variable to see whether there is a change in the dependent variable. And one of the popular ways of doing this is through the experiments. Let's say we will see how we use the causal design in marketing, in solving the business issues, marketing issues. Let's say there was a business issue. Management decision problem is our sales are declining and we don't know why. Conduct the exploratory research. After exploratory research, the probable cause was the package. Exploratory research done, probable cause was package. Then to confirm and to solve, there is a descriptive research, determine the customer's perceptions about the color of our package. It was package color, not only because the packaging would have so many things, right? So let's say when the management issue came to highlight, the exploratory research was done and package color was the probable cause. Now descriptive research was done. This is the marketing research problem that is stated. Determine the customer's perceptions about the color of our package and compare it with major competitors. You would get an answer here that the package, the appeal of the color of our package is low or lower than the competitors, the package of the competitors color, right? You will get this answer from this descriptive research if you do it right. If you do not yawn and keep your eyes open throughout this marketing research course, you will be able to hopefully do things right way and get to this particular answer or some answer that the color of the package, the appeal of the color of the package is lower than the appeal of the color of the competitor's package. You will get from the descriptive design, right? Now after that you design a new package. Because you know this current package, the color appeal is low, you have to now make 2-3 samples. Once you have those samples, let's say you have made 3 or 4 different samples for your packages, you want to know which one will appeal more to customers. So you can conduct the causal research, saying that will customers purchase more of our products in a new colored package. So what you will do is, you have 3-4 samples. You can either conduct a field experiment or a lab experiment. You have 3-4 new packages. Your independent variable is the same packages, but the color is different. So you have independent variable as color, different color. Dependent is appeal or buying it. So you would conduct an causal research.
How we will in real problem we will get to if from exploratory.
Yeah, that we will discuss in descriptive research what to do later on. But I am just saying what happens in causal research.
That means the cause is here the new change in color, and effect we are trying to measure is like what the customers are like.
Appeal or behavior. I can give you one more example of causal research. Whenever we have to, let's say for e-commerce based or e-companies, let's say e-commerce companies. Let's say if you have to determine, we have been discussing this problem, determine the price elasticity of demand for this product, right? Let's say for a product we want to determine the price elasticity of demand, which means whether changing the price will increase the demand, how with the changes in the price, how the demand will increase. For many of the past situations, we have framed this as one of the marketing research problem or would be there in the components. Instead of doing descriptive research, you can do causal research. How? So let's say you have the product page. In that product page, for a particular product for which you want to determine the price elasticity of demand, instead of conducting descriptive research, you can conduct causal research. How you will do that? In that product page, for every 20th customer for that particular product, keeping all the things same. Let's say for every 20th customer, not for because let's say there are many products are there. See, the idea is, let's say it is for cameras, right? And in a single page, so once you log into that particular website, you would get to see many cameras, and once you click one particular camera, you will be able to see the specifications and price. Let's say that for every 20th customer, you change the price. For every 20th customer, you change the price, increase the price by 500 rupees. Do it for a day or 2 days, and then find out the sales ratio of that every 20th customers for which you increase the price versus when the price was not increased. So what you will get to know that with the increase in price, whether the same ratio of people are buying or did the ratio decrease. If the ratio decrease, you know that at this price the value perception of the product has decreased. So which means for price elasticity, instead of doing descriptive, you can straight away do the causal research, right? So causal research can be straight away done after you complete your developing an approach to the problem, but it depends upon the type of the problem at hand.